All right. Yeah. Come on. Yeah. I'm thinking about the good times. All right. Hey, what's up, y'all? Welcome to Let 'Em Cook, episode 2, because we recorded it last week and then we forgot to release it. Thank you guys so much for joining us. My name is Zaid Tabani.
I'm Saint Cola.
Yo, Cola, how you doing today?
Dog, I'm doing okay. You know, there's been some wild things up on Twitter, but we'll talk about that soon enough. I will say that I'm doing great because I've been on the Street Fighter 6 grind quite a bit.
Dude, I have been too. I've been trying to freaking get my shit together. Speaking of the Street Fighter 6 grind, so I entered, I'm going to tell you a story, and that's going to get into our first topic. So I entered a tournament today.
Okay.
Well, first off, I entered a tournament earlier this week, and I got 4th, which is awesome. But I entered a tournament today. It was called the Street Box. If you don't know, H-Box throws a tournament every so often. He did one with Street Fighter 6. And I entered this tournament, and my first opponent was Punk. So I got bodied by Punk. And then I'm like, all right, okay, well, you know, I'll just check back in and see how he and everybody are doing. And so I left the internet for 2 hours, and then I came back on, and all hell had broken loose. Because our first story is the H-Box tournament. Apparently, during the Hungrybox, do you know what happened with this?
Oh, yeah. I was there in real time watching it on my phone, watching it all burn down, but go on.
So for people who don't know, Hungrybox is big Smash Brothers Melee player, one of the biggest in the world, probably the biggest in the world, signed with Team Liquid. So he throws this thing every so often called the Box Series, which are these like big tournaments, and he threw one for Street Fighter 6 because it's kind of like his way to bridge Smash community and FGC community at large together, which is a great thing. He started off with like a Daigo interview, you know, being like, hey, we're so similar. What did Daigo play in Smash? It was very, very charming and really meant as a bridge. And so a lot of top players entered. There was 1,000 entrants. There were like obviously some technical hiccups when it started, but during one of the matches with Punk, they have the pronouns of the person up there, and they have the name of the player up there on the Chiron or the stream overlay. And for some reason, Punk's pronouns read, I'm not going to say the word, something offensive that we can't say on YouTube, but it is the word, the bad slur, a very well-known awful slur, right? And it was obviously an accident, right? But to somebody who's on that stream, you don't know. It was very, very jarring that it stayed up the whole fucking match. And it just sent everybody scrambling to figure out what happened. Originally, it was thought, oh, Punk has something under his pronouns. That must be under his pronouns. It wasn't. Punk said, I don't have any pronouns like listed under my thing. And then it turned out that it was Start GG having a giant error and pulling from another tournament where another player had those pronouns under his name. So I have a couple questions for you, Saint, because I think you should lead this off because I need to figure my shit out, and you're more affected by this than I am. What are your feelings on the whole situation? Hungrybox apologized, felt awful. Do you think that what is your feelings about how Hungrybox handled the situation and ultimately who's the culprit? What are your feelings about how Punk handled the situation and the culprit? And what do you think? Do you think that this affects FGC Smash relations in any significant, meaningful way, or if we can just continue, or like it's a blip in the road and an otherwise smooth kind of thing where everybody's kind of trying to come together for this game? I yield my TED Talk time. Be real.
Let me get real deal with it. All right. First of all, so I actually read a thread that talked about how.
I'm making tea while we do this.
You making tea? Make it tea. What kind of tea is that, though? What kind of tea is that?
It's Costco green tea. So the most appropriate of green teas. So starting off right.
All right. So I read a thread about what actually happened. I guess there were some issues with StartGG and yada yada. It wasn't his fault and all this and that. That may be the case, and I'm not saying he is an awful person. Whatever. H-Box should have took that off expeditiously, or ping Punk and said, "Are these actually what you want to go with? Because this will show up on the stream." And you know, he put it up. It's an automatic thing. He sees it on the stream. I wish that he would have jumped forward and said, "Hey, let me, Punk, is this what you want to go with? Because this this, is different than the usual. And that's okay to question, I think, when it comes to things like that. If they're different pronouns, they, them and stuff like that, or someone referring to themselves as she, that's okay.
Do you think
like, you should just let that fly. But when this is like the N-word, that's the thing, is I don't know who's doing production. I don't know who's doing production in total. All I know is that he's like, it's from my point of view, he's manning the stream. Now that being said, he did apologize and stuff like that, and I don't think it was something done maliciously. So I don't think HBox is out here doing this to be a jerk or whatever, or right, trying to play a prank on Punk or whatever, or do anything wild. So these things happen, and I would hope in the future that he is a little bit more attentive next time, and I'm sure that he will be. My biggest issue is how the community responds, and it's not just the Smash players. I'm sitting in Punk's chat and watching people who aren't even Smash players, that are FGC people, being like, why is it a big deal? What do you mean, why is it a big deal when the N-word pops up on a stream? Like, are you...
Yo, come on.
Hello? And yeah, there were Smash players that were saying that in his stream, that were like, go on, it doesn't matter, let's play the game. But it's an actual real, that's an issue that needs to get resolved. We don't just continue with the matches and to deal with this in the background. You saw this ASAP.
Right, I also want to clarify, like it's not... Reasonable Smash players are not going to be like... Reasonable Smash and FGC players are not going to be like, this is not a big deal. Right, because right. I think a lot of the narrative is right now, like, Punk's and HBox's chats are at war, right? I don't think there's I think the war of whatever the fuck that is are people who are too chronically online, and so to think that it's not a big deal is a fucking absurd. Have you lived in reality for the last 10 years? Of course it's a fucking big deal. I don't know how, to you it may not be a big deal, which says a lot about the person, but I don't know how that happens, and you don't think that it's an issue that needs to be addressed,
right,
especially with the optics at play. Immediately.
But I'm on my focus. I'm not here. And I wasn't able to participate. I was supposed to do commentary for it, and I wasn't able to participate. I had to pull out because I have family stuff. And I'm watching it back and forth on my phone, and I'm seeing even to me it's gonna stand out more if someone's saying, oh, this doesn't matter, whatever, and all this stuff like that.
Of course.
So I gotta give Box some credit for at least addressing it on the stream, and Punk to be stating his feelings, and I think he stated it perfectly. He said, after this, I don't care, about this. He's like, I don't care about HBox. You don't pay my bills. You don't ask my D and all that stuff like that. So that's what he said. But
Punk was way angry.
He is done with this after this.
I don't want to say you're underselling it, but Punk was angry. That's not because there's tons of clips
Punk
of it
was
now.
Angry,
and he has every right to be angry. I don't think there's regard. I think there's a conversation to be had about what he tweeted out and DQing himself, but there's 100% he has every right to do that. Number two, he has every right to be angry about that, right? Even if it's a whoopsie, it's not a whoopsie, it's not a whoopsie you can put back in the bottle, and it's not a whoopsie that you can put back in the bottle especially with the way it kind of unfolded after that time. I'm sorry I'm interrupting you, No,
I want to hear your ideas too. This is a discussion.
Well, because I think also if you look at the chronicle of the specific events that it's so stupid that it has to be this way, but it is true. The way the events happened affected a lot. So Punk plays the match and then finds out about it, right? Which is horrible. That's the worst way you could find out about it. Watching that stream where he finds the words on the stream with him, bro, that's a reaction that's clearly this is fucked up, man. What the fuck? I have to deal with I have to deal with this shit. That's a very personalized, even if you don't think it's a big deal, when that happens to you and you feel, especially with the amount of spotlight you have on you, there's no reality where that's where that's not gonna fucking affect you. And so clearly he's upset. Clearly that's fucking hitting him in a certain way. And he goes and he says, what the fuck is this? Which actually, honestly, it's completely justified. HBox is that's where your pronouns were set to, right? I don't think he meant it maliciously, but that's what he was just thinking and guessing.
He legitimately thought. Yeah.
But still, dude, you should have checked it. I think that should have been checked. and then him finding out, he definitely did backtrack. But even if it's like good intentions, like to somebody who's like in that state, who's just fucking just gotten that yelled at them, they're not gonna be fucking okay with like, they'll feel like, oh, he's capped. Like he's like, oh, he's capping because he's fucking upset.
Yeah, that's why.
And
that's
obviously,
why Punk had asked for that. He asked for the what do you call it? He asked for the examples. He asked for him to show him the back end and stuff like that. You know, that's why there's like so much like. There was so much back and forth, and I want to go back a little bit and say, you know, and correct myself. He says he'll forget about this after the stream, but during the stream, I want to point out that you're right, that there's a lot of harassment, people coming through the stream and saying, well, what does that word matter? I'm a mod in this chat, so I see all this. Yeah, I was in the chat and I was watching all these people, banning some of these people, saying some wild ass shit like, oh, well, I don't think it's a big idea, or you're saying the word, so it's not that big of a deal. Like,
that's
him
so
having to deal with that ruins everything, bro. It ruins, and they even have to address this, ruins everything. As a black person, or any, like, let's just say you're a minority in general, and you have to deal with someone bring up the word. Now you have to deal with the effects of everything. For people saying, "Are you okay?" and stuff like that, which is great sometimes. But why are you put in that position? Why are you put in the position of having to explain why these words are bad, or educate people, or having people go wild in your own chat, which should be your safe haven? So sometimes, you know, when things happen to Punk, and maybe he goes a little bit wild, not mild. Sometimes I think, man, maybe some shit just be happening to him, and you see the pressure hit him, and like maybe, you know, he has a point.
Course.
There was the thing at Evo Japan, and you know, maybe not every single time, but it makes you look back and be like, dang. But anyway, back to this issue.
No, definitely. I don't think that he's wrong or like ridiculous. Like, look, there's a kernel of truth in everything he says, right? There are issues with Evo Japan.
He's vocal,
right? He's very vocal, but I do think that there is like over time, and that's the issue here too. It's like, it's not. This is clearly like on the Coinbox, right? Like I don't think like I 100%, like I messaged HBox after, and I was just like, dude, like it's not like I hope this doesn't deter you from running more Street Fighter events, because I don't think like it's not malicious, right? And it's 100% like a fuck up that like somebody who wants to do better will do better, right? Like if given the opportunity, HBox, this will never happen again, like ever. And he's been apologetic.
I believe that too.
I do think the initial response he should have been like waited a second and confirmed what it was and just been like, yo, like I'm gonna look into this, right? Just for optics, because unfortunately optics is like 95% of what this is, right? And like it just played out the way it did, and it's not a great look. And especially with somebody who is under the amount of scrutiny that Punk is under the amount of like pressure and like just all of this shit kind of going around him, right? It's not a great place to be. So that happens, right? And then right after, Punk is on the stream and is like, I don't want to support. I mean, to be fair, like even compared to all the times that Punk has like called people out and called things out and called out tournaments, judging by the severity of the situation, the lightest call out of all of the times he's called out, like Evo and Combo Breaker and all that kind of stuff. Like it was a I'm not supporting Coinbox. Fellas gotta check the people working with him. There shouldn't have been up, which is a direct thing, right? He's not casting aspersions on HBox,
right? But
he's saying like, look, something fucked up happened, and somebody on the staff should have seen it. Like, you got to check the people around you, right? Let me ask you this: like, how do you like, even knowing that HBox, because to me, and obviously I'm not black, so I'm not going to be able to fucking understand this the way you do. Like, are you still upset at the situation, or are you more like, this sucks that it happened? Like, what's your feelings on it personally?
I mean, like, for me, I'm not really. I'm more upset maybe at people in the back end making this mistake. Obviously, not in the way where like, yo, cancel them or get them out of here or whatever, or they're the worst.
No, I don't think so. I'm not trying to put you on spot like that.
No. But you know, like it's back to what you had said, where we know that they'll never make this mistake again, and we'll make sure that this is caught next time. I'm not, currently mad at anybody, but if this happened to me, maybe I would still be mad about it, and I'd be right to be mad about it. What I am mad about, what I'm more angry about or be pissed about, even if this did happen to me, is the reception from the people in the FTC and the Smash who are maybe making light of it in some ways that it shouldn't. It feels kind of weird. And black people make light of it. Well, that's what we have to do. We have to make light of a lot of things to survive in this world. You think that we want to joke around about, all these race issues and stuff like that? When you watch your favorite comedian crack jokes about, racism and stuff like that, there's truth in there that they're trying to hide in to make sure you understand things, to feed you your medicine that you don't want to take. So when it comes to this side of stuff, it's hard to even talk about it because you always have people being weird, being like, well, you guys use the word and all this stuff like that, and it creates that narrative once again. To finish up, all I'm going to say is, like, as a black person in this community, I should go on Twitter and question the intentions and what people are saying about this stuff. And when they sit here and being like, oh, well, HBox, it wasn't really that big of a deal. What do you mean it wasn't that big of a deal? HBox himself thinks it's a big deal. The staff thinks it's a big deal. Punk thinks it's a big deal. The black people who are affected think it's a big deal. And if you ain't this and you saying it's not a big deal, then you don't have a fucking say.
Well, especially if you're an HBox fan. No, for sure. No, go off. Like, if you're an HBox fan. And because look at his chat. His chat is respectful of pronouns. His chat is respectful of all of those kind of things and understands the intersectionality really fucking well, right? His chat, he is super on the ball with that shit. And if you were a fan of his and you're going, it's not that big of a deal, I don't think you're really a fan of his. Motherfuckers have a cosplayer at a convention not look at them, and they take it as a giant fucking insult. Twitch streamers, like, don't get a response in chat and drive 700 miles and set a car on fire. You're gonna fucking tell me like that some of you motherfuckers are okay with those things, but you're not. Like, it doesn't make any fucking sense to me that people would police other people's like emotional reaction to something that affects them. This is a problematic incident. How do we make sure it never happens again? And how do we make sure the people affected are not disrespected in the way they in what happened,
especially that last part.
I don't know if you saw, there was the Blacku Twinsuru. I think I said Blacku Twinsuru. Bet on. Oh my god! Did the fucking tweet just leave? Oh, I'm gonna be so. No, I got it. Okay, so he responded on Twitter. Okay, so this is the. I'm gonna read this and then we'll post it in the video. But I'm just gonna say that these pronouns were on my profile. I doubt anybody else has this to my knowledge. I don't even know why or how. What I had that's on my Smash profile is attaching it to two players that don't have any pronouns listed on their profile at all. So I don't know if we clarified this enough, but what had happened was, what they found out was, they entered in this program on Twitch for a chat overlay, and it overlaid on it overlaid the pronouns onto both players, but the pronouns were from a different tournament. It was from the Heaven's Gate tournament that was held like a year ago, and those were like joke pronouns that people had on their profile. But it overlaid over both players instead, just because of some weird glitch that somebody had entered and not double checked. Regardless, I'm the reason that this is happening, and I don't know what else I can do other than to remove it. I'm sorry to the backlash that I've caused for HBox and Punk, and if anybody should get the blame, it's me. I know that HBox and Punk's chat are at war with each other, and I hope that can be shifted over to me, because HBox wouldn't do anything malicious, period, and he already does enough for the communities he's involved himself with as is. Hopefully, I can get the chance to apologize to Punk and HBox directly in terms of this tweet. Oh no, in terms of this tweet, and that's the tweet where they're explaining what probably happened. L's rec I explained. I don't know how a tournament from a year ago ended up brought into all of this, but I didn't even have my pronouns up for that event. The pronouns were on the profile near the end of April/early May, so that doesn't make any sense to show up. Really hope this doesn't burn bridges for the communities, especially with Street Fighter 6 just being released. If people want to call me edgy, corny, that's fine. It's well deserved. I had no ill intent to put it there. I just didn't know it was an auto API that puts it on stream. I'm sorry. And I think that's a good thing to take away from it. I know I've been talking for a second, but like,
go on.
I'm very worried because, dude, this was supposed to be a very wholesome event, and like an event that is, by all means, like, save for this, it was an event that people were very excited about. That was like two communities kind of coming together. That video with HBox and Daigo was genuinely sweet. Daigo being like, oh, I play Marth in Smash, and like talking about that, and Hungrybox like talking about like Street Fighter characters in Smash and how he wants to try 6 and everything like that. It's all very genuine and very like good and healthy, because we've had this huge disparity between Smash and Street Fighter and all this kind of stuff that shouldn't exist, by the way. That was there because of some bullshit Wizard did that made it worse. There was a point where it was healing and it got way worse.
The hope is that we move on and we chill. I feel like this won't hurt the bridge that we have, but what it will do is put light on both the FGC and the Smash communities in terms of when this stuff happens, when we have these weird occurrences, and how people react. To me, and this is obviously because I'm black, I see it like this, that is a bigger issue to me than our Smash FGC going to be able to come together, because I feel like they will. I feel like they kind of have with Strive, they kind of have, and with other communities they've crossed over and stuff like that. We'll always have our, they're over this part of the venue and we're over here. And that's just how it is. But there's still crossover that can happen with 6 in general. And these events, while they're good, they're not the end all be all. It's up to the community and overall to make that happen. And I think they can. But my fear is that we see moments like this happen and people not care about what's going on, or try to just move things over, even though HBox doesn't want that, or try to calm Punk down and say it's not that big of a deal when obviously it was. Like I think those parts to me stick out a lot more, and then those are problematic in that we still have those even though we're in a community that's predominantly minority based. Like, it's wild that we have people talking 100%. Like this, and it's sad. I'm gonna say it. It's sad to see my fellow brothers and sisters be talking like that too as well. Like, it's okay to be upset at this too. You don't gotta be like, oh man, it's all right. You don't have to be mad about that word anymore. It's okay to be angry about that stuff. But I hope that in the future we can use this as a starting point to be like, okay, this was a bad event. How do we make things better in the future? So
I feel like that's where I'm going to end it. I think
we're going.
No, but I think that's such a fucking... It's such a socially fucking weird thing for somebody to be like, something upsets you, and then you not being like, oh man, yeah, that fucking sucks, dude. I can understand how that would upset you. Like, I don't understand how that's not like just that. Like, whether it's a big deal or not shouldn't fucking matter, right? Like whether it is a big deal or not, if somebody's upset by something, just being like a human being and being like, oh man, I'm sorry, that fucking sucks for you, bro. You're really gonna go out to somebody and being like, oh man, the fuck up. That's not gonna help anybody. Like, it helps no fucking people. Like, there's no human being who's like just like who's well adjusted, who's just taken a rash of shit and manned through it and not addressed it. Like, that's like, there's no human being who's well adjusted. And anybody who's achieved anything has fucked up their lives or lost all of their achievements because of the man the fuck up kind of mentality. It's such a fucking dumb thing to do in like 2023 for that to happen. And that's hella frustrating, 100%. Dude.
I was gonna say, hey, you know what? I have some good news. All right, I have some. There's a sunny side to all this Street Fighter 6 talk, though. All right, and this is my next topic.
Help me. Yeah. Help me.
I went to run the mix. Okay. As at the Mall of America, actually, a local in the Mall of America. And I went out there. I was invited out there to commentate some Street Fighter 6 and hang out with the local crew. Shouts to Wisdom, shouts to Run the Mix, my boy Pete. Scout was out there. They invited Just a Kid, Mena RD, Arsenal Ash was out there for Tekken. There's a prevalent fear before 6 that locals are going to die. They're going to diminish. You have this great online play. What reason would I have to even go out and spend my time, my gas, and all that stuff like that to go out to these locals? Well, guess what? I went to that local. It was packed. I looked at my phone. I looked at other people's locals. They were packed. Even the week before, locals were packed. And maybe they won't stay like that, but this first month of locals has been filled to the brim. What are your thoughts on the fact that, hey, offline is popping still?
Dude, I think it makes a lot of sense. I didn't really have like any indication that it would be that way, but it makes sense if you think about it, because if you look at how the online is structured with the Battle Hub, right? Like, the Battle Hub is structured as a social space. It's not structured like, look at all the Guilty Gear kind of hubs and everything. Those are all awkward, right? So much of the culture around this game is like how weird your character is how weird the avatar is, going up to the cabinet, like that whole arcade experience of like relating to that, and also like the way the chat is in the game is like it's so free form, so people can just chat instead of like having to only use pre-saved phrases. So it's really, really cool. I think that aspect of it is one thing. I think the other thing is that because the netcode is so good, and because it feels like the person is so next to you, you're gonna start being like comfortable with the netcode and wanting to, and because you're in a good mood, you kind of want to be social, right? Especially with the way, like right after you get out of a match, you're around all of these people and you're like, oh man, I wish I could talk to them if like without typing, right? And that creates that atmosphere. So of course you're gonna want that, and you would want to travel out to get that. Look, I think Street Fighter V stuff suffered from a lot of things with bad netcode, but bad netcode plus being a chronically online game, because at first they weren't going to release it in arcades at all. Being a chronically online game like that created a lot of issues with people connecting with one another, with a lot of issues with people with the scene kind of like growing and stuff like that. You know, like it grew, but we had so many issues with the game and lag and being able to discover like all of these things, and a lot of that has been alleviated with 6, so it leaves room for people to make friends, find new people to fucking play with. I mean, like there's a whole new wave of people getting into fighting games because of this. So you have a whole lot of people who just want to hang out and be social and play this shit, you know? It's a vibe.
I think you're kind of right with the fact that like they keep that sociability in the game. I could easily find friends. There's clubs, and a lot of the clubs are obviously based on, like for mine, it's like TNS, a part of that. I'm sure you're gonna have one pop up too,
sexy
so
feet.
I might have to join that because you can join. Whoa, that's not mine. That is not mine at all.
Feet. You
that's one I'm not joining. I don't know who's on that club.
Listen,
get out of here.
Cola. You can join both TNS and the OnlyFans Jury Feet Club at the same time.
I think I'll stick both. I could, but I won't. I'll stick with the TNS. But they also have like cool stuff, like, you know, you can find people easily. I feel like the matches are really snappy and stuff like that. But really what makes it, what makes me happy is, again, like people are going offline still and playing too. And I think the offline scene is taking advantage of this new rash of players, as you pointed out, coming through and trying to play and get ready for all this stuff. I saw people playing Modern. I saw people playing on, obviously, Classic. There was even dynamic tournaments. They were taking advantage of those modes that we were talking about, you know, a couple weeks ago when we were doing some preliminary planning for this stuff. Yeah. They were actually taking advantage of like the bull stuff. Like I was like, that's what I want to see. Use the stuff. There was even a team battle thing. That's the stuff. Capcom, you did good with that. And that stuff will help grow the scene. The more features that you put in to make people play, even if it's online or offline, it'll still help grow the scene everywhere. My opinion.
But you know what's funny about the team battle thing? Because when they did the team battle thing, you know, like they've tried that in like fucking every single game and it hasn't popped off. And in this game, it's popping. Like they were using it for Twitch Rivals too, you know? Yeah. And the way the clubs look like a soccer club or a fucking basketball, like that's awesome, dude. Like you get to have like your own team and everything. Very, very cool. Well, so what was the vibe there when you were at the event? Like what did you feel like the vibe? Because I know that people were playing and everything like that, but just sociably, like do you think that people were like it's you know how like when you go to Evo and after the tournament everybody's going to different rooms and it's just the hang in those rooms, right? Like people are seeing other people are playing with cabinets, talking, chatting, talking shit and everything like that. Did it feel more like that, or did it feel like, yo, we're all trying to like grind on this game?
It felt like a mix of both, actually. I'd say a mix of both. Plenty of people that came in that were spectators that were just like, you know, trying to see what's going on, or just like, you know, playing casuals and stuff. There were obviously the sweat lords that were playing multiple matches. People that hadn't seen each other for a long time, dapping each other up. People asking for sets and stuff like that. It felt like a mix of both, and I think that's a good thing. You know, there was still that vibe of like, we hanging out after this, we're getting food after this, or, you know, serious time at the tournament. Menardi had like a long line of people trying to play him and stuff like that, and I got cooked by him too, as did everybody else, so I don't feel so bad. But it felt good to just like be amongst like every part of the FGC, from the hardcore to the casuals, to even like talking to people and helping them learn the game and some of the characters and stuff, to people that were like, bro, I'm watching you right now. What are you doing? So like, it felt like everything was encapsulated at that event. I can't speak for every event, and I hope to go to my locals, but every time my locals happen, it's always an event during that weekend. So I'm like, You're killing me. You're killing me. But I assume the same is there, because every time I go to my locals prior to 6, it was like that too as well. And I feel like with more people, it'll be the same thing. And I think that people are capitalizing again on all the different features. And it's not just Street Fighter 6. It wasn't just 6. And we talk about 6 a lot, but like Tekken was popping. When I went to DreamHack Dallas, Guilty Gear was popping. Like that was going off too as well. I mean, there was a big tournament for that. There was a
but has Guilty Gear seen a difference though? Like, has there been a difference between Guilty Gear since 6 has come out, or do you think it's just been consistently popping?
No, I mean, like, it's lowered. Every game has lowered viewership, players, and stuff like that. You got the new game. You know, Street Fighter, it's the biggest thing in the damn world right now in terms of fighting games at the moment. And things will calm down in a couple months and people will disperse. In fact, right now I'm looking at Twitter. People are like, well, you know, 6 isn't for me. I think this game's really scrubby, blah, 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 you know. They'll scatter off to the other game, which is okay.
I have to kibosh that. I'm sorry, I don't want to interrupt you. I have to kibosh that right now. We got to talk about this. This is got to be the last topic.
Here we go.
All right, so there's fucking DSP. There's a clip of DSP. If you don't know who DSP is, he's someone who you should never look up, because it's an absolute, if you want to waste oxygen for like 5 minutes, look up DSP. But like, he's an old fucking YouTube guy who won an Evo on a game that was busted. And there was a point where they ran like a Street Fighter tournament on a version of the game that was so fucking horribly busted, and he won it. And he bragged about it all the time. He fucking rubbed it in like Watson and Valle and all these people's faces, and people fucking hate him for that, because he would never admit when he lost. Like, he was a perpetual like, I'm like, you guys don't know, the game's just changed too much. This is how you correctly like he claims everything. He's just one of those fucking assholes. So he, for the last like, I don't know how many generations of Street Fighter, the game is just fucked up. I'm not doing anything wrong. It's the game that's wrong, right? And he blames everything else but himself. And so his relevancy has just gone way down from 2010. Like, there's like 200 people watching his watching 200 views on a YouTube live stream overall. Not viewers, like 200 views overall on a YouTube live stream. So, somebody found a clip of him getting upset about the game, and there are people who are like, I don't like this game, right? And they put it on Twitter, and it went viral, and now there's this giant perpetual feeling like, man, people are already hating on Street Fighter 6. No, that's not what's happening. That game has 1 million players that logged in. If you search Street Fighter 6 sucks in Twitter, you will see post after post of people going, why do people think Street Fighter 6 sucks? It's fucking doing great. We're really going to be talking about that. It's everybody defending Street Fighter 6, and then like one DSP post, which has gotten like 1 million views. that video has gotten 1 million views, and the original video is at like 900. Like, that makes no like, you're spreading, you're inevitably like hurting yourself by engaging with the troll behavior.
I don't know why we entertain these people. I mean, I'm not perfect. I've done it before. You see Twitter, I gotta hit this person, whatever. I gotta, do the. Were
you about to jump on the bandwagon, Saint? You tell me the truth.
No,
were you about to jump on the
bandwagon? I've been good. No. I've been good. I've been good lately. Y'all see my Twitter. I've been good. I've been staying out of trouble, okay? I just post a dog, the shock face, and I walk on, okay? That's it. That's the amount of input I put on.
What does it imply?
That implies that I've seen it, I'm shocked, and I'm moving on. Because I don't want to, if I say anything, I'll get in trouble. But for the DSP thing, I saw somebody, there was a post underneath that really stuck out to me. That was like some person that was trying to justify a little bit what he was saying. And the guy was like something along the lines of, he's got some sort of truth, because, why do I want to fight a kid who is cracked out, is 14 years old, and just get bodied by them? And it's like, you've missed the point of fighting games.
But that's not even reality either.
Point.
Yeah,
that's not, right, that's not reality.
Like, you know what? First off, for him saying like people can play fighting games for profit, motherfucker. Do you know how many people like make like a decent fucking living off this shit? It's not a lot. So like, that's like saying, like that's like saying people become a rapper for profit. No, we don't. There's no money for like the first 10 years. you're broke for the first 10 years. Like it's a shit show. So like I think yeah, sorry. Like it's not real. Like that's not happening, dude. Like that'll happen once.
Right.
But like all games, and especially this game, right? People will get off the cabinet and go somewhere else and play somewhere else. That shit has happened so many fucking times.
I just don't understand why people also see something that would take work, just as anything in their lives, and think, oh man, it's unfair that I'm not perfect at this level like this other person who has grinded longer than me. Or they see that this person has been doing work and say, hey, let me rise to the occasion and try to challenge them. Like other people haven't proven that's possible. Ending Walker, a young kid, he's like younger than most people. Just something in him clicked and he started playing hot. Same with Zen. Same with Kawano. Kawano wasn't good until like he saw Tokido and Daigo play. And that's what inspired him. It was 2 years later or 2.5 years later, he fought Daigo and beat him in a big exhibition. Like, if you work at something, you'll get better and you'll improve. And if you don't want to improve at that level, then this ain't for you. Then I guess if you want to be a competitor, but hey, you don't have to be a competitor. You can just enjoy the game whatever way you want. You can just say, hey, I don't want to be, I can be diamond level or whatever. I don't have to be master rank, or maybe I want to be master rank, or maybe I just want to mash buttons in modern. You don't have to be just the sweat lord or whatever. And as you pointed, like if someone's beating you up in the cabinets, be like, hey, GG's, thank you for the games. If that's not for you, if you're not trying to be a serious, sweat out here, move on and find somebody else. Say, hey, I just want casual games. Play Avatar Battle. They got that.
Bro, do you know how many people get toasted the first week in a 2K or a Call of Duty game comes out? Do you know how much when a Call of Duty game comes out, if you buy it the next day, you're dealing with like level 60 people in your lobby just smoking people because you don't have fucking any perks and shit. So like, it doesn't make any sense why all of a sudden you would expect everybody to be good. But I just think that like the whole idea that like the reason the FGC had problems with the Dark Ages, both of them, because we just went through one. Mm-hmm. Like the reason we had those problems wasn't because the games were too hard. It's because the games were not fun, right? It was like we had like Street Fighter 5 took a while to become this fun game, and by then it's a reputation that was just baked in to mainly casual players. My girlfriend did not want to touch 5. I bought her 5. She played it maybe once or twice, and she was just like, "This is a little bit much for me," right? You know, I bought her this game.
Hardcore.
Yeah, I bought her this game, and she played. I didn't buy her this game. She bought it herself, but like, she played it fucking all like all day for the last like 3 days. She loves the customization. She's telling me about like about the custom characters, and then like she started on modern, and she switched to classic. She started on modern because she was like, and she was like, I mean, I can do this move. I can do a fireball. I can figure that out, and she did. And she's been practicing and figuring it out, and that's fun for her. Like, to think that suddenly people will like give up on something, you know, just because it's a little hard is a little bit. There's a level to where people will give up if it seems like this is obtuse and they can't understand why something isn't working. Yeah, they'll give up. But it's not like obtuse to know why you're getting hit, or like this game more than any other games is very clear on what you're fucking up on a lot of the times, right? You got hit from a jump in, you got hit from a DI, you got hit from this, right? Somebody's reacting to your DI. It slows down the game to let you know you did this at the wrong time or you did this at the right time. You know, like it's very clear what's going on at all times. I don't think people are dropping the game like this, and I don't think DSP's argument is very valid. Every game in fucking America is played at a level because speedrunning exists. Motherfuckers are in Tears of the Kingdom beating the game in under an hour, right? For profit. But that doesn't make the game any like there are other games with competitively that are difficult to play. But it just takes a little bit of time. If I wanted to pick up basketball, I'm a shit basketball player. I'm not going to be good the first time I get on the court, but there are people there who are like, yo, let's figure out that. And you make little victories. You made a basket. You learn how to dribble well. You learn how to fucking post up and do a screen. You like Street Fighter. You learned a combo. You learned how to do, like, my girlfriend learned one cancel combo. I showed her one cancel combo with like a Kikoken, and she was like, this is fucking cool. And she's just using that combo the whole time. She liked it. Like, it was a good fucking time.
It's strange for people to assume there's only one route to having enjoyment with these games, or say it's all, it's all about the money, whatever, or even just like, avoiding the fact that this could just be for entertainment. We already talked about all the great modes and stuff like that. And honestly, you can, even though other fighting games maybe don't have all these features, that you can just take any fighting game in that fashion, especially if you have a community around you that, it doesn't have to be serious sweats all the time. You could just jump into a fighting game, mash buttons, and just have fun, just enjoy it for any reason. It just goes back to fighting games being enjoyed from any angle. The visuals, the OST, the gameplay, obviously. Anything you can think of, you can just like fighting games, and that's okay. And I feel like that tweet encompassed people missing the mark, but again, it's just him. And thankfully it's not, it's another indicative thing of like, even though like, people on Twitter are going wild and say, yo, Street Fighter's actually great. It's how, it's not, people are not actually getting mad at Street Fighter 6. There's not that many people who are like, I hate Street Fighter 6, bring back Street Fighter 5. it's very minimal. You
want to know the proof that it's doing well? The proof is, aside from sales,
What's
right?
that?
Is that, again, that's the thing. There's like one person co-sign, like, the general vibe of the community is like, why the fuck are you complaining? Because that didn't exist for Cross Tekken, for Ultimate Marvel, for fucking Street Fighter 4, for like, people bitched about Street Fighter 4, and that was the big revival of everything. People would not stop bitching about Street Fighter 4. The execution,
Baby's first game.
This game, Baby's first game. All the fucking 09ers don't know what it's like to like lose 70% to Chun-Li. This is the first time where every top player, where almost every top player is kind of in unison being like, I don't like this like, here are my quibbles, here's what I love. This game is great, let's play it. And I don't think people should give Darkside Phil 1 million views for something that took him not even the energy to admit his faults for.
I agree, but you know how Twitter is.
I know.
Blow up the whatever Tuesday, Wednesday blow up it is, whatever it has to, go absolutely ridiculous. So
real quick, before we go, any final thoughts? Before we go, any final thoughts on the Punk HBox thing that you want to leave viewers with?
All I gotta say is, with that, just try to understand it. If you are not of, that person's color, try to understand it from their perspective. Do not jump to the defense of the other person, especially when they don't even want it or don't even ask for it, and understand why someone might be upset at these words being used. Think about how that impacts them, especially someone that gets a lot of attention and a lot of views and a lot of abuse, most of the time, if not 99% of the time, not warranted in conjunction for what he says. Try to think about that next time that you, try to run in defense about something that you probably shouldn't.
Even in the times where Punk has gone out and said things about those tournaments, people who run those tournaments are usually understanding and being like, you know what, even if things are like crazy, somebody's upset, we want to do a better job, right? If they have the grace to do that, you should have the grace to be like, hey, this thing upset this person, you have to take it seriously, especially when it's that word and we're in the time we are right now in America. I hope Hungrybox runs another one of these. I hope it doesn't happen. I hope him and Punk talk.
Yeah, I hope it does
and,
too.
And I hope Punk answers my DM and like listens to my music. I just want to say that, okay? I know it's a hard time for you.
We should send this to him.
Make me a mod. Make me a mod.
Make you a mod?
I will make a peace rap. I'm gonna cut that from the episode.
Damn.
But anyway.
Hopefully you enjoyed this episode with me and my boys at Tabani out here chatting about all things FGC.
If you like what you saw, please like, comment, subscribe. As always, I do freestyle the news on the other channel. As always, Cola is commentating everything under the sun. What are you commentating next? Where are you at next?
Maybe a little something in Florida. We'll have to see when that gets announced.
But anyway, guys, my name is, thank you guys so much for watching Let 'Em Cook. We're going to be here every Wednesday. Hopefully, starting soon. This is gonna drop Thursday, but we'll hopefully be here every Wednesday when we get a chance. But till then, my name is Zaid Tabani.
I'm Saint Cola.
And we'll catch y'all soon.